Hello everybody, my name is Video Boy, and today I am actually going to be doing a different type of what I did before, looking into the Fazbear Frights books, the stories in them. This one being much more longer, in depth, look at these stories, but I have some stuff I do need to talk about first. One, sorry for the lack of uploads. For a little while, I had a big project that I was starting on, and yeah, I'm still have that in the works. And then I also have I also had a camp. I also went to a camp thing with my family a little while ago. So those are the reasons why I haven't posted a video since my last one. But it's a good thing when I was at the camp, I read the book. But we will get to that in a moment. There is another thing I need to talk about. There's a friend of mine who has their own YouTube channel. I will link down below, titled The Random Show. She is one of the nicest, sweetest people I have met, and she's contemplating on quitting TikTok, and I would completely understand her decision on that. I made that same exact decision, and yeah, that's what's going on with her. But if you're new to my channel or even hers, I highly suggest you both subscribe to both of us and put a like on the videos, stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much all with that. Also, I wouldn't even be making this video right here if it wasn't for her, because she was the one that actually inspired me to make a review every single Fazbear Frights stories, do the little analysis type things. And yeah, this video would not exist now if it wasn't for her. So please go check her out. She is an amazing person. But anyways, let's get into the stories. So we're starting this off with the title book cover, Friendly Face, which this one is one of the most interesting stories. Like, all three stories are really interesting, but I really like this one because of how they play around with the characters and such. They really go in deep with the characters and everything. Basically, the main character, Edward, recently had his two best friends, Jack and a little cat that he and his best friend were taking care of. They both died in an accident when Jack was chasing after the cat on the street when they was chasing a butterfly. And yeah, both Jack and the cat end up dying due to a truck hitting him, and main character Edward, which those were his only two friends, he spirals into a pretty deep depression, and he ends up feeling horrible about himself and about the whole situation, and even had both his mother and Jack's parents said it was the cat's fault, even though it really wasn't. It was a whole bunch of their faults. And yeah, so one day when he was just barely starting to lighten up his spirit, he ends up ordering Freddy Fazbear's Friendly Faces. Basically, if you had like a deceased pet you would just give them a sample of their DNA, and yeah, they would end up making a sort of animatronic version of that said pet. So Edward wants to recreate it so that it recreate the cat so that it may still feel a little bit like Jack is still there. So he goes to the site of the accident where he finds some of the hair, and let's find some hair, and ends up sending it to sitting with the money and everything to get it. But he did not full on check to see if it was all cat hair. So his friend's DNA got mixed in with the cat's DNA and created this abomination that you see on the book cover. It's basically the cat's body and head with the face of his best friend. At first he's like so creeped out by it and ends up burying it in his backyard. But then that night he hears some noises around his room. He looks around the whole house, seeing nothing, but then suddenly, as he's laying down to go back to sleep, he sees the friendly face creature sitting right on the foot of his door, right in the foot of his bed, and he ends up being freaked out by it. And yeah, it's actually really interesting how that happens. And when his mother comes in, it's completely gone. And this happens multiple times when he's going to school, coming home from school, stuff like that, until it starts chasing him. It starts chasing him down the street and everything, and he ends up like twisting his ankle, but he keeps on going, and he ends up going into the street where he also gets hit by a truck and dies. And it basically ends with the friendly face sitting there waiting for him to get up and play once more with him. It's so creepy. Like, here's the very last line. It would wait now. It would wait patiently for Edward to get back up and play some more. That's literally how it ends. It's like so freaky how it ends. And this story, like all three stories actually, is something I really like. At the very end of each story, for a little bit, it swaps perspectives of the characters, and it's so cool how that happens. So for this one, it swaps to the friendly faces point of view. Yeah, let's say that. Point of view. Its point of view, and yeah, it's honestly a really great story. I loved how it turned out. It was such an interesting story, and really a great way to start off this book. Now we move on to the second story, Sea Bonnies. This one is absolutely amazing. It combines the best aspects of both 1:35 a.m., I'd say 1:35 a.m., and Gumdrop Angel. It just merges those two stories so well. Basically, the main character, Mott, and his little brother, Rory, are basically Mott's little brother, Rory, gets these sea bonnies, which are basically genetically modified sea monkeys to look like Bonnie. And after they hatch and everything, the sea bonnies start to taunt Mott and everything. And the taunting starts to really get to Mott. And then he goes into take a bit of a closer look at his fish, at Rory's goldfish, because it definitely didn't seem right. And what seems to happen is that the fish somehow got turned into just a big clump of sea bonnies, and it was just so freaky how that happens. And that's like a full-on, like that's 2 animal deaths in this book, and it is freaky. So Mott decides to flush the sea bonnies down the toilet to fully get rid of them, because yeah, it could definitely get too far. But then he has a nightmare and eating the sea bonnies at breakfast and stuff. But then he suddenly wakes up and decides to get a drink of water from the bathroom. He goes to see where it's heading from there. He basically ingests one of the sea bonnies, and the next morning he's sick. He's like having terrible stomach cramps, and after a few days it progressively gets a lot worse. Basically, the sea bonnies are eating him from the inside out, slowly turning him into just one giant big thing of sea bonnies. And it gets so creepy towards the end when like his skin gets all gelatin-like, and he like pulls off clumps of his own flesh to try and get rid of the sea bonnies, only for them to fill up those spots they ripped out. It's like so freaky, and I love it. And the ending, I'm not spoiling this ending, but it's so ominous, and I absolutely love it. Like, the second story is one of my favorites to date, because it's so creepy. It manages to get the creepiness down to a T, and it has a nice sci-fi element of the whole monster eating from the inside out. It's so fascinating, and I love the second story. It's so good. And now the third and final story of this book, Together Forever. This one was such a good story. Basically, these 2 characters, Jessica and Brittany, who are like the homecoming queen and princess, like they were crowned homecoming queen princess, and they're complete assholes to these 2 very sweet girls, Cindy and Mindy, which they're actually like genuinely kind girls, and they're just pure mean to them. And Brittany and Jessica have skewed ideas on romance too. Like, they have these 2 boyfriends. They're really good guys too. And they're like, yeah, they're nice and all, but we're probably just gonna dump them after high school anyways. So, even though like, I think it was Jessica's boyfriend was actually thinking of more of a long-term relationship, them growing old together and everything. And you can really get, and you start to really get mad at these 2 characters, because they're skewed views on everything. And then in their robotics class, they get assigned to work on fixing this animatronic pig like character, and named Rosie. And well, actually right before that, the 2 very kind girls, Cindy and Mindy, are like, yeah, you're just projecting your emotions of how you feel of yourself onto us. And yeah, you can do that. They fall and say, yeah, you can bully us, you can treat us however the fuck you want. If that's what makes you feel better, you can do it. And what do those two characters do? Do they rethink their actions at all? Do they think, wait, they're actually being nice about this? Are we actually being assholes here? Nope. They full on are like, okay, we gotta get revenge on these people, on these two girls. We have to have revenge on them. Like, really, revenge on... They literally just said that, oh yeah, you can bully us however you want. If that's what makes you feel better, you can do that. But then it's all like, oh no, they need to know their place. They can't be like that to us. And like, really? And what ends up happening is when they're assigned with that animatronic, it's a spring lock suit. So they want to program it so that they would trap the two girls in there and all that, make them serve them, the queens and all that. And it was just very asshole-ish type of stuff that they want to do. And and what has to happen to them, I say they full on deserve. Both of them get, first, Brittany ends up getting, shoved into the suit. No, it was Jessica. Jessica gets shoved into the suit and ends up, and Brittany tries to switch it off, but ends up accidentally turning it to suit mode, off of suit mode to animatronic mode, therefore killing her. And it gets like really gory with the details of her body and the suit and everything. It's so creepy. And then the same happens to Brittany too. Which, yeah, I gotta say, they fully deserved all of that shit that happened to them. And it gets so descriptive with the gore and such, and I love it. It is so entertaining how graphic it is. This is like the goriest story ever with Fazbear Frights. The closest thing being Pizza Cats, which I also really love that story. But this one, I absolutely adored how these two bitch asshole characters full on got what they deserve. And yeah, it ends with Cindy and Mindy coming up to it, and how it's all treating them like queens and serving them because they didn't double check the programming that they had, therefore reversing what it would do. That they would be the ones that get shoved in it, and Cindy and Mindy would be the ones that are treated nicely and everything. And yeah, they're like, oh yeah, they allowed us to swap projects and all that. Like it's like so cool how it ends. Like, it really ends with them like fully getting what they deserve. The last line of this one, is the most horrifying, and I love it. Inside Rosie, fused with interlocking metal structure of the machine's mechanisms, two lifeless, disembodied faces stare at each other. Although the lips of both faces have perfectly applied shiny lip gloss, the mouths guarded by that gloss would never speak again. The two faces would stare at each other in perpetual silence, their features locked in contorted expressions of horrified understanding. Like, that's literally how that ends. Basically saying that, yeah, the two main characters' main faces are forever gonna be staring at each other, fused with the animatronic, and it's like so cool how that ended. And I absolutely love that one. That one's my top favorite out of the three, with Steve Bonnie as being a close second, and Friendly Face being a pretty good one, but the last one out of all three. Not the worst. Like, it's not bad. It's just out of all three, it's the one that was the least entertaining. It was one that took the longest to actually get to the creepy stuff, but it still was really good. All three stories really good. But if I had to rank them, it would be Together Forever, Steve Bonnie's, and then Friendly Face. All three of the stories, top notch though. Some of the best that Fazbear Frights has to offer. So if you are reading Fazbear Frights books, definitely get this one. It's horrifying and it's amazing. Just go read it. It's really good. Check it out. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and please check out my friend The Random Show, description down below, and I might have chosen a song, most likely by the Stipendium. I'm thinking most likely Fazbear Family, the instrumental of Fazbear Family by the Stipendium. So if you haven't seen that song yet, check it out. The original song will be in the description down below. He's a really great artist, and his songs are absolutely amazing. And yeah, you'll be able to tell why I chose that one for this the instrumental for this video. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Check out both the Random Show and the original Stipendium song that I used for the background. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be one that I've been working really hard on. It's a bit of a bigger project, but still, it's going to be good. Trust me. See ya in the next video.